从经典演说当中练习正确的发音这边的范本是我15个频道里面其中一个叫经典演说篇当时是第14集乔治布希小布希总统第二任总统演说就职的稿子所以我们念要注意几个第一个就是咬字发音咬字主要是母音第二个就是停顿停顿非常重要不要一口气全部念完，更不要停顿错误的地方就断句断得不好断错了人家一听老外一听就知道你不了解这个意思。第三个就是抑扬顿挫所以抓几个这个诀窍你可以听着我念或者是跟着一起念我速度念慢一点。Second inaugural address of George W. Bush, January 20th, 2005. Vice President Cheney, Mr. Chief Justice, President Carter, President Bush, President Clinton, members of the United States Congress, Reverend clergy, distinguished guests, fellow citizens.On this day, prescribed by law and marked by ceremony, we celebrate the durable wisdom of our Constitution and recall the deep commitments that unite our country. I am grateful for the honor of this hour, mindful of the consequential times in which we live, and determined to fulfill the oath that I have sworn and you have witnessed.It is sacred gathering. Our duties are defined not by the words used, but by the history we have seen together. For the half a century, America defended our own freedom by standing watch on distant borders. After the shipwreck of communism came years of relative quiet, years of repose, years of sabbatical,and then there came a day of fire. We have seen your vulnerability, and we have seen its deepest source. For as long as whole regions of the world simmer in resentment and tyranny, prone to ideologies that feed hatred and excuse murder, violence will gather and multiply in destructive power.And across the most defended borders, erase a mortal threat. There is only one force of history that can break the reign of hatred and resentment, and expose the pretensions of tolerance, and reward the hopes of the decent and tolerant, and that is the force of human freedom. We are led by the events and common sense to one conclusion.The survival of liberty in our land increasingly depends on the success of liberty in other lands. The best hope for peace in our world is the expansion of freedom in all the world. America's vital interests and our deepest beliefs are now one. For the day of our founding, we have proclaimed that every man and woman on this earth has rights and dignity,and matchless value because they bear the image of the maker of heaven and earth. Across the generations we have proclaimed the imperative of self-government because no one is fit to be a master and no one deserves to be a slave. Advancing these ideas is the mission that created our nation. It is the honorable achievement of our fathers.Now it is the urgent requirement of our nation's security and the calling of our time. So it is the policy of the United States to seek and support the growth of democratic movements and institutions in every nation and culture, with the ultimate goal of ending tyranny in our world. This is not primarily the task of arms,though we will defend ourselves and our friends by force of arms when necessary. Freedom, by its nature, it must be chosen and defended by citizens and sustained by the rule of law and the protection of minorities. And when the soul of a nation finally speaks, the institutions that arise may reflect customs and traditions very different from our own. America would not impose our own style of government on the unwilling. Our goal instead is to help others find their own voice, attain their own freedom, and make their own way. The great objective of ending tyranny is to concentrate the work of generations. The difficulty of the task is no excuse for avoiding it. America's influence is not unlimited, but fortunately for the oppressed, America's influence is considerable, and we will use it confidently in freedom's cause. My most solemn duty is to protect this nation and its people from further attacks and emerging threats. Some have unwisely chosen to test America's resolve and have found it firm. We will persistently clarify the choice before every ruler and every nation. The moral choice between oppression, which is always wrong, and freedom, which is eternally right. America will not pretend that jail dissidents prefer the chance, or that women work on humiliation and servitude, or that any human being aspires to live at the mercy of bullies. We will encourage reform in other governments by making clear that success in our relations will require the decent treatment of their own people. The Americans' belief in human dignity will guide our policies. Yet rights must be more than the grudging concessions of dictators. They are secured by free dissent and the participation of the governed. In the long run, there is no justice without freedom, and there can be no human rights without human liberty. Some I know have questioned the global pure liberty, though this time history, for the case defined by the swiftest advance of freedom ever seen, is an odd time for doubt. Americans of our people should never be surprised by the power of our ideals. Eventually, the call to freedom comes to every mind and every soul. We do not accept the existence of permanent tyranny because we do not accept the possibility of permanent slavery. Liberty will come to those who love it. Today, America speaks anew to the peoples of the world. And those who believe in tyranny and hopelessness can know the United States will not ignore your oppression or excuse your oppressors. When you stand for your liberty, we will stand with you. Democratic reformers facing repression, prison, or exile can know America sees you for who you are, the future leaders of your free country. The rulers of outlaw regimes can know that we still believe as Abraham Lincoln did. Those who deny freedom to others deserve it not for themselves, and under the rule of a just God cannot long retain it. The leaders of governments with long habits of control need to know, to serve your people you must learn to trust them. Start on this journey of progress and justice, and America will walk at your side. And all the allies of the United States can know that we honor your friendship. We rely on your counsel, and we depend on your help. The vision of my free nations is the primary goal of freedom's enemies. The concerted effort of free nations to promote democracy is a prelude to our enemies' defeat. 我们这一期念到这里。